Hello and welcome to the Stay Superior podcast. Today, I am actually here in person having my first in person episode with a very special guest, but I won't do the introducing. I'll let her
Oh
do
my.
the whole introduction herself. So,
Um, my name's Alyssa. Personal trainer. I've been at this for eight months now, and more or less, I'm figuring shit out from you. So, or you're helping me
okay,
along the
yeah,
way.
fair enough, fair enough. So, you're a personal trainer. Has that been a thing you've wanted to do for a long time?
No, it was a last minute decision.
Really?
Well, yeah, more or less. I was struggling with university. Not grades. Grades are great, but was getting tired of the homework and the amount of time putting into something that I wasn't happy with. And I wanted to do something in, athletics or at least movement.
Hmm.
And I literally Googled how can I become a personal trainer without having to go to post secondary school? Because I didn't know if you could just
Hmm.
get certified or if you had to go to school for it. And then I came across ISSA, and
ISSA.
yep, that night I dropped out of university,
Are you
and
serious?
yeah, and paid. And I'm not like a what's the word?
Like a fast action taker,
No,
or
well, I'm a fast action
yeah,
taker,
okay.
but
I kind of sound. I was gonna say it sounds like you are.
no, but
Yeah.
I'm not like a spontaneous. Like I
Okay.
think
Okay.
I think things through
Yeah.
before making a decision, and I was so. There's I was 3 years into it. I was so fed up with university, and I felt like I had absolutely no life. I mean, I don't have all the life in the world now, considering how busy I am, but it's at least I'm enjoying it. And yeah, on a whim, I was like, Kate, drop this class, and I'm gonna pay for my certificate. And yep.
Okay. So before we get too far into all of this, I do want to hear a little bit about maybe like your background, like
Mm,
kind of who is Alyssa.
that's a deep question. Well, okay, well, I'll start with like my upbringing, I guess. I've been in and around athletic sports since I was little. Very competitive drive behind me. Yeah, so been around sports my entire life, and it's definitely why I am the way that I am. Um, and like being competitive and like wanting to work hard, get shit done. And I would like to say I have a good mix of both my parents. My dad is definitely like the jock,
Yeah.
the athletic guy, and then my mom's like the artistic, whimsical person, and I have definitely a mix of both. And then throughout high school, I was set on being a phys ed teacher. All like in middle school, I made that decision. I was like, I'm going to be a phys ed teacher and I'm going to be an English teacher. Those were the two things that I wanted to do. And throughout high school, I was like, okay, I think I want to do this and like be a high school teacher. And university came around during COVID. I think honestly, if COVID didn't happen, I probably would have still been in university.
Yeah.
The culture, the way that people operate, it was so different. I mean, not that I was in university prior to COVID, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, like my professors were saying, like the way that people work together are so they don't work together. It's all self-taught and
Yeah.
everyone's lone. Um, so that's probably what led me to be so fed up with university and want to leave. But anyways, I get to university and I'm on my route to become a phys ed teacher, and I'm still doing athletics. I was doing track for university, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just sports.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, that's obviously taken you into fitness,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like that's taken you and pushed you to, I mean, simply put, where you are today,
yeah.
right? Um, you
High
know,
motivation, high drive. Like that's definitely all accredited to.
yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll throw a little, say a bit more about my dad. He is like my coach on everything.
Okay.
Maybe not. Well, when it came to sports, he was like I had an in-house coach, which was good and bad.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, definitely, I am my father's daughter. I'm very high motivated. I'm gonna get shit done, and I'm gonna have a goal in mind, and not just. Like to think I go with the flow, but there's always like intention behind it.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. It's funny you talk about how you're so fitness driven,
Yeah.
and it just kind of goes to show how your two opposite people can end up in the same
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
So you super fitness, super competitive, growing up, Me? No.
Really?
No. No. I hated competition growing up. Absolutely hated it.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
like I avoided it to a point where I only played one or two sports in all of high school and like
Okay.
junior high because I'm like I hate the idea of going to tryouts. I hate the idea of going on the pressure of being on a team. I hated all of it. And so I never did it.
Yeah.
The only sport I did through grades 7 through grade 12 was 1 year of badminton.
Oh my god.
1 year of badminton. That was it. That's it.
Oh,
That's
that's
all I did.
funny.
That's all I did. I tried out for it. I made the team.
Yeah.
I did doubles. I did some singles,
Look at you.
and that was it.
That's so funny.
Like I loved it when I was doing it. Part of me, I think I just wasn't mentally disciplined enough to enjoy the feeling that I had when I was actually like performing.
I don't think I enjoyed the feeling of the pressure.
I
I
enjoy.
just
Yeah,
wanted to prove it wrong.
fair. I mean, that's a motivation.
I've never worded it like that, but yeah, I think that's what.
Yeah.
Because like, even going to tryouts, especially like track specifically, like it's such an
I
alone.
despise track.
I more or less did it because I was good at it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fair.
I
Right?
mean, running. I know I'm like all this like health nut, but like cardio is. I
I
don't
see
like
you
it.
doing all the sprints.
Yeah, I don't like it though.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do it
I
because
always had the. I always
I
thought
do
that
it because I
you.
know the benefit. I know it's good for me.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I actually despise running.
The truth comes out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see what it is.
But like for track specifically, I was doing high jump. That was my best event, and I loved it. But going back to like the pressure and whatnot, track is so like singular,
Mm-hmm.
and like I can like just thinking about like lining up for a race right now, like my stomach is turning.
I'm getting the same
Yeah,
feeling. Yeah. I don't
and
like it.
like so I'm. This is really strange, but sometimes just just to like shock myself, like just
Yeah.
feel something, if you
Yeah.
will.
Okay. Where's this going?
I'll just be sitting there and I'll think about what like the emotions that I go through before like getting
Interesting.
ready for a race,
Yeah.
and it's the same feeling every time, like thick butterflies,
Yep.
if you will, in your
Yep.
stomach, and your heart is like palpitating, like, and I'll do that every now and then just to like scare myself. It's not intentional; it just like happens.
I
I'm
love
like, what
that.
the hell are you doing?
I love that. And then all of a sudden you start like,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
if you're like anyone's around you, like,
Yeah.
so are you okay?
Yeah, I haven't done it in public.
Okay. Okay. Probably. Probably for the best. Probably for the best.
Yeah, no, but when it comes to having pressure on things, I I don't like the feeling, but I like to think that I can work past it. I think it's because I'm like the firstborn in my
Mm.
family. I've always had like, I don't know how to describe it. I hate saying this, the golden child, like, because I always felt
Wow.
like I always had like a role to play, and like I
Yeah.
needed to like live up to it. And
Mhm.
like when it came to sports, I was the athletic one, my brother was not. And
Got you.
yeah,
Okay.
so I was the son that my dad could coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
so I that's just what I was raised on, was just sports right
Mhm.
from the beginning. And yeah, so when it comes to being nervous, whether it has to do anything with athletics or like just like even like coming here, I was nervous. Like when you asked me to come
Yeah.
here, I did not have to say yes, but
It's
I
true.
was like, you know what, this is a unique opportunity. I've never done a podcast before. Why the hell not? And I'm nervous, right?
Yep.
And you just like, well, I'll do it anyways. I'll work through it.
Oftentimes, in a lot of instances, when you get that feeling, it's because it's
Yeah.
something that leads to a breakthrough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like I've had that in my business many times where something that I was really uncomfortable and not wanting to do in the slightest, I knew it was that thing that was going to actually progress me somewhere that would
Right.
take me
The stuff you
to.
don't want to do is usually the stuff you should be doing.
That's a quote.
Yeah,
That's,
I don't know where it's from.
yep, same. Yep. Yeah, no, I don't know either, but it's honestly awesome. I think I have it on my old vision board in my room, actually. I think
Yeah.
I have something very similar to that. Even going back to what we were talking about with sports and stuff,
Yeah.
how like I hated doing sports and that feeling of pressure
Right.
that you mentioned. I should have, thinking back, like I regret not doing more sports.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and I say this because with a grain of salt because it never actually came to fruition because of COVID. But in grade 12, I was going to try out for our hockey team,
Okay.
like our high school hockey
Yeah.
team. Again, didn't happen. COVID, no hockey that year,
Right.
right? But that year, I was kind of opening myself up more than I had in the past, being like,
Right.
I actually, I felt as though I should,
Right.
even though every part of my being was like, That is the most horrifying thing ever.
No.
I know the people that I'd be playing with on that team,
Yeah.
and I know that they're so much more like jockier than I was. I was a gamer nerd in high school,
Okay.
like fully, like
No,
absolutely.
I
I would,
appreciate the honesty.
yeah, like I'm going home from school and I'm gonna go play with a couple buddies online for
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 hours,
Oh
right?
my god.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But that transitioned because I found a passion, right?
Right.
And I'll ask you in a minute, maybe a little bit more in depth about kind of what has since, because obviously fitness was very whimsical for you, like being a
Yeah.
personal trainer was
I felt like
very,
it was very natural.
but yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
that's the thing. And I kind of want to know, and we can just talk about it now. It's like, what do you think has kept you in it? Because you got into it pretty quick. Like you
Yeah.
just saw it as a, okay, I'm tired of university. Here's this.
Well, to be honest with you, it was like I was going to become a phys ed teacher. I was
Yeah.
like, let's do it for adults.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it, like genuinely, and I love working with kids. Like I said, I used to be at a daycare, but honestly, honestly, the daycare is like what led me to like what other options are there in the athletic realm for adults?
I need something else. I need
Yeah.
something with someone older,
Yeah.
someone who's not a child.
Yeah, and again, I was already struggling with like how busy university was, or like just mentally draining.
Mhm.
So I was like, hey, know I want to be some sort of coach of sorts. I want to work with adults now
Yeah.
that I've established that children are a lot.
Yeah.
Love them, but just not, a room of 16 plus.
Mhm.
um, and it led. I had already thought of personal training before, but it wasn't like anything serious. But then I came to this fruition, and I was like, okay,
Just-
let's just give it a shot.
And you were maybe at that crossroads mentally where you're
Yeah.
like, I'm done with this. I need something new. And the idea of being a
Yeah.
personal trainer just kind of dropped into your hands.
Yeah.
So-
And I tell this to my coworkers often, like I genuinely believe this job was made for me. Like I'm very passionate about it. I love it so much. And obviously like, like the pay is good, and like but that's not like the reason why I'm in it.
Helps.
Well, I would have been making decent money as a teacher as well. Like
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. And you would have gotten freaking 3 months off.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
year.
vacation time,
Yeah.
and then I could do training on the side of that if I wanted to. Um so it's yes, the money's good, but it's not that's not the sole reason. Like I just like I form these connections with my clients, and even prior to the connection being formed, like I want to help people realize that there's so much more to moving your body than just the way that you look. Like just to have a better quality of life.
Mhm.
And once I do form that relationship with my clients, it's like they now become my like child, if
Yeah,
you will.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I've had that happen with a couple of my in-person
Yeah.
clients as well. It's because that relationship you build. I had a client who I was training for a year straight. It was
Okay.
just over a year that we had one session every week, right, for a year. You can imagine you get pretty close with that person through doing that, right? And the first, I don't know if you can relate to this, but the first month or two is you're still trying to understand them, like their
Yeah.
ticks, what they, what, so that
What kind of
and
jokes you can make?
that definitely, yep.
Yeah.
My guy made that super easy. He made jokes far worse than I did, so I knew anything I said goes.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah.
But it was more so like even from like a client or a trainer perspective of when they do X thing, when they're doing like a workout or a certain
Right.
exercise, what means what, and then also being able to figure that out, and then the conversation you have changes over time, because the conversation I have with this client changes over time from, okay, bro, you need to get this many reps on this. And then we finish it. How was that? Okay, it was this. And it turns into like a conversation of like how he's doing, how he's
Yeah.
feeling. And
Yeah.
it goes into like, yeah, this happened at work today. Like this was really shit and I didn't feel good. And I don't really have very much energy
Yeah.
coming here today. Like I almost canceled on you today.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but you showed up. And it's like a pat on the back. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
let's get this session
That's
in.
always my first thing I say.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're here, so that's
Yeah,
good.
right?
And then you end up beating their ass.
Oh,
so-
it's bad. Because his weak point, he did not, his legs.
Yeah.
So we did legs every week for probably 6 months. That was the workout we did, because I'm like, with the expectation of this year, you're growing your legs. They've grown like a couple.
I've made this goal for you.
They grew a couple inches.
Okay.
And like around his quads.
Yep.
It was his goal. He was mad at himself because he's like, I just can't push myself on leg day. He's like, my legs, they don't, like, I can't mentally go and squat under a bar and push myself half as much as I do when I'm bench pressing. Like he was bench pressing more than he was
feel
squatting,
that. I feel that.
right?
Yeah.
And so we worked on it, and now his squat friggin' improved like 120 pounds,
That's crazy.
right?
Yeah.
Because you get to build this relationship this whole time, and it becomes so much more than just
Yeah.
I'm here with you for an hour a week, and let's just get this done, and then I can get out of here. It's a deeper connection. It's a deeper relationship that you can build
Yeah.
with people.
Well, and also not to mention when at least this happens to me when I'm working out, I feel like I've become a lot more vulnerable, but without thought. Like without a guard up.
Yeah.
So I'm like working out and I'll start talking about something like if I was like, and I say sober, not so actually sober, but like not endorphin kicking. This is stuff I wouldn't be saying. And it's just so that when I'm sometimes my clients will be working out, they'll just say the most out of pocket random thing. I was like, it's okay, you're mid workout.
Like I this hasn't happened to me, but I've seen a video, because that's like a very common thing for trainers to have happen to, that their client will just express this unrelenting, deep, dark, like
not always dark, but just like
for the example,
out of pocket.
But like there's a post that I had seen a little while ago, and it was something along the lines of like you're doing bench press with your 50-year-old like husband client, and all of a sudden he like admits to cheating on his wife mid session, and it's like, how do you react to that? Like it's like, all right, time for next set. Just let's do your next set, and then meanwhile while he's doing his set, you're just like.
Most of my clients are women, and boy problems is a definite topic that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And some of the things that my clients say to me just baffles me. And it's so funny. Like I honestly, my sessions with my clients are therapy sessions for myself.
Life lessons to avoid.
Well, not even just that. It's just like I get a good laugh, or I learn something that because their life experience,
of course,
whatever. And I oftentimes I like to think I have really good relationships with my clients. I do. And most of my sessions we're leaving and we're laughing, and I'm like, "Hey, go do your cardio. Go to the stairs for 20 minutes. Have fun."
Yeah. And you can just joke about it and have a good time with it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love my clients with every fiber of my being, because I've gotten to I make an effort to get to whether you're my client or not, I like to know people. I like to be intentional when I'm talking to someone. But specifically my clients, if I'm seeing you 3-4 times a week, you're going to get to know me whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and say vice versa, I'm going to get to know them. Some crazy stuff has been said to me. Obviously, I'm not going to share that, but
understandable.
Yeah.
Would you say that you have, when it comes to like whenever you coach someone, whenever you're a trainer for someone, when you get a new client, is there a consistent practice that you try to get into everyone's head, no matter what their goal is per se?
Like, are you like how to get to that like level of like comfortability with the client?
Yeah, well, that. But like, do you have something that you just think is very important, like a value that you have in fitness that you want to always transfer to any client that you get? Because you talked about how one thing that you really like doing was teaching people like there's more to movement.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was gonna base that answer off of.
So it's like, would you maybe want to like dive into what that can look like?
Well, when I first start with a client, it's a little stiff, right? Like that's just how it is, even when you meet someone for the first time. So more or less, my first few sessions are just helping them understand, like, hey, you're gonna be really sore for the next like 2-3 weeks. Like, to let your body adjust.
Yeah.
More or less, I'm like, it's okay. Like, stick with me. It's gonna get better.
Don't leave. Like, I know you don't want to show up with me next time.
Yeah.
But like, I promise you.
Yeah. It's gonna get better. And basing off the fact if they've never worked out before or they're getting back into it, right? And so that's my first plan of action, is to like help them understand it's going to be very difficult right in the beginning, but then you're going to start to see small changes, like your posture's changing. Walking up the stairs feels way easier, even if it didn't feel harder before, or hard before. Like just smaller, minute changes. You're gonna feel more energized, more motivated. You'll probably sleep a little bit better in the next like month to 2 months. So, in our first few sessions, it's more or less just me teaching them form and like making small talk. But then I would say by like week 2 or 3, I like really dive in between, like while they're resting. Obviously, I'm not getting them to talk to me while they're doing their exercise. I mean, that definitely has happened
Oh
before,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
and
Guilty.
well, I'm like, okay, if you're talking
I'm
to
pretty
me,
sure I did that to you while you were training today, literally.
yeah, and I'll say if you talk to me that entire set, we're up in your weight. That is
Yeah.
the condition I've made with all my clients.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's honest.
It's
Like,
very true.
if you can speak to me throughout your entire 15 rep a set of decently weighted squats, like clients that have been with me for a little while now, we're going to go up. You should not be able to speak.
Yeah.
Um, or you should be able to speak because like then you're working too hard. But like you should be focusing on your breathing.
I know what you mean.
Anyways, where was
Absolutely.
Where was I? Um, yeah, and then I'll get into once we're past the stiff stage, I guess, then I'll try to introduce them to like different concepts of what fitness is all about, not just their end
Totally.
goal. Obviously, they're coming to me because they have an objective, which is totally fine. I have an objective when I'm training. But I like to teach people that if you put fitness as a like a what's the word? If you put it as a front runner to your health,
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot harder to skip days at the gym. So therefore, getting you closer to your goals. But if you just look at it as like the end point that you want to get to, it's going to take a lot longer. And also just showing up is going to be a lot harder.
Absolutely.
But if you look at it for its benefits on daily life, not just to look a certain way, then yeah, I try to give them that pep talk almost every session because you're putting them through pain and they're looking at you funny and whatnot. I'm like, just remember, you're helping your heart right now.
Absolutely. And I even want to like kind of double down on what you said with obviously a client comes to you with their goal.
Yeah.
But you as a trainer
I have a different
also
goal.
have a goal.
Yep.
And it's an interesting balance making sure that you acknowledge and focus on their goal. Well, and the way I like to word it is like you're kind of like underhandedly tossing your goals for them in there because they just don't get that you need to drink that much water and that when you drink this much water, it will eliminate X problem they're having. They don't get it.
Yeah.
So you just need to underhandedly make them do that in a way that doesn't include you saying you need to drink more water.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you see that story with the little
the duck, the little duck water bottle?
Yeah, that was literally what happened because my clients were, I think they were explaining that she was having some breathing problems and she was just out of breath. And I was asking her why. I was like, well, why are you out of breath? And then we basically got down to the point that she wasn't eating what she needs to be eating and like she just has no energy.
Yeah.
And
good job breaking down barriers.
Yeah. She has no energy. And then I was like, okay, well, we also need to up your water intake because I know she also doesn't bring a water bottle to her session.
I didn't bring a water bottle to ours.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The most painful thing that ever happened to me. I was so sad.
I was sipping on my little shaker. I was like, what is this man doing?
It hurt my soul.
He's supposed to be a professional.
It was the one thing I forgot. I was stressing all morning, running around, and I'm like beeline it to the gym, and I'm like, I opened my water bottle when I went to change, and I'm like,
my first thought when I wake up is water. That is honestly the thing.
My second thought.
What's your first thought?
I have to go pee.
That is one thing I pride myself on is the amount of water that I drink.
Yeah, but you did say when you described how much water you drank, you described it in pounds earlier. So
that was a joke.
The way you're still talking about it, and I'm starting to believe you. So
no, water is my everything. Okay, what were we talking about? That was the duck.
The duck, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, my best thing that I tell my clients is get yourself a cute water bottle. You'll want to drink some more water.
Oh man,
and
awesome.
that was her. Showed up with a little duck. When she showed up, I actually lost it. I was crying.
I know that joyous feeling that it goes through like your whole body.
Yeah, she took my advice, and then this is what she came out of it with.
And then you could tell that she's so proud to bring it to you.
Yeah.
And then you're just like,
I open up the office door and she's just holding it, and she's like,
I know,
look, and it's just this little duck water bottle.
Oh my God, it's like, oh.
And to add to the situation, she has a thick accent, right?
Oh, okay.
So she's just like a little spitfire. I love her so much.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah, when my clients started, and then even like my clients are sending me pictures of their food now, and that's something I've been starting to implement with my clients. I'm like, send me a picture of your dinner tonight. I want to know what you're eating.
I do the
And
same thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I love seeing when they apply what I'm saying to their daily life. Not just obviously they're gonna apply what I say to their workout,
Hmm.
but outside of the gym, I love seeing it. Like if I can impact anyone's life, even if it is just to drink more water, it makes me feel good.
Absolutely. Because at
Yeah,
the end of the day, just for an example, it's like that effect can compound in so many ways.
yeah,
Because when someone drinks more water, they might go from having no energy to having a little bit more.
yeah,
They might go from being really, like on edge and annoyed with people throughout the day
yeah.
to feeling good. They might go from headaches to no headaches. And that,
I still have one.
yeah, the lighting doesn't help.
Yeah.
But like and what you said, it's like it compounds, and that if you can just help one person,
Yeah.
that makes a big difference, because who knows what effects the tips and concepts that you've helped other people apply
Yeah.
have changed how they live, and has then changed how they treat people.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's such a good way to put it.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, imagine if you have a headache all the time,
Yeah.
you're gonna be pretty like rough around the edges. And then imagine if that headache suddenly goes away and now you feel good. You're gonna probably like be a better human,
I would hope.
right? And it kind of just stemmed from like you drinking more water.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
crazy.
that kind of concept compounds, and
Yeah.
then you're impacting more lives than just the one that
I
you're
really
directly
I
affecting.
really like the way that you worded that.
Yeah,
Or like play how that could play out. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because it's more than just this person drinks more water and they feel better. It's like that goes further than that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember exactly, and I'm probably gonna misquote it, but it said something along the lines of, if you can impact, like, it only takes like 70 people to like reach. It takes way less people than you think. I'm not gonna try to quote the number,
Yeah.
than you think, to reach everyone in the world. To impact everyone in the
Yeah, I've
world,
heard that too.
it
I've
takes
heard that
way
too.
less people than you think.
Yeah.
Right? Because this person then to that, and it just exponentially grows so fast
Yeah.
that it doesn't take very many
Well,
people.
small example. My one client, she started with me 4.5 months ago,
Okay.
and uh, month and a half, 2 months into her training, her sister joined, and it
Oh,
was because
cool.
of her. And I know like they're siblings, so obviously like they're talking all the time, but now they're talking to their friends and they're
Mhm.
their friends, and like they'll tell me like little conversations that they're like, oh yeah, I told my friend to start going on the treadmill for this X amount of
Awesome.
time, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, oh nice, like that makes me feel good that
Yeah.
you're like spreading my word, if you will, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good way of
and
putting it.
yeah, yeah,
That's
no, that
funny.
ripple effect is it's a small world.
It is.
It is a small
It
world.
it really becomes a small world when
Yeah.
you look at it, and I'm happy to be in the industry because of that.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have a favorite? And this might. Do you have a favorite session or like a workout that you could give someone that makes you really excited because you know how bad it's gonna be?
That made me laugh because like yeah, there's specific exercises,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not like a workout. I try to not repeat the same workout from one client to the next.
Totally.
Well, just because like they're going through different,
Hmm.
they have different goals or like
If
different.
certain things line up, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Um, now that you asked me, I'm struggling to think. Um, okay, quad extensions.
Actually, that was the first one in my head.
Yeah.
That was the first one in my
I
head.
will never not put it in a program
Yeah.
because it's so important. But when we get to it, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun. And I know it sounds horrible, but I'm not kidding you when I say I don't think I have a single client that enjoys them. I don't enjoy them.
I don't either.
I feel strong. I think the reason why I've
They're-
started to like them, this might just be like the trainer mindset,
Yeah.
is because I know their benefit and because it makes me feel like a beast. Because my quads are just like juiced up and
It's funny you say you put it in every person's program.
yeah.
It's not in my program right now.
No,
No.
no, I refuse to not put it in someone's program because
Right, yeah.
it's, like there's not too much you can do to isolate just the quad. Whenever you're hitting lower body, it's mostly it's the most lower body exercises are compound, right?
Of course.
So when I want to isolate, that's hamstring curl and quad extensions. They're religiously in all of my clients' programs, and hip abductions, very important.
That one's also really good as well. Yeah.
That is one thing I stress so much, and especially with my male clients, because a lot of men seem to neglect that area. And I get it. The machine is not the most like
I wish
pretty.
we had one of those. I wish we had an adductor abductor
okay,
machine at the
you
gym.
don't. Well, you can use cables. It's not the same.
It's not the same. I
Um,
used it in Calgary when I lived there, and it was incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. But yeah, no, that's something I stress a lot for my male clients is you better be working your hips because what is one of the first things that can go when you age?
Hips.
So, and hip mobility and strength is very important if you want to be successful in your lower body lifts. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, very, very stress on my isolation exercises with my
Mhm.
clients. Those are usually the ones that my clients hate the most.
Yeah. Mhm.
One that I've been doing a lot, I've been supersetting with a few of my clients. Um, Tricep push down, straight bar, and then a
Yeah.
bicep curl.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been
Cool.
supersetting that a lot recently, and for I don't know what it is, but like I feel like I can curl so much with a dumbbell, and then put me on a cable and it, like cut that in half. Like I don't know if it's just the cables at my gym, but like even my clients they struggle so much with the cables, and then dumbbells is just like air.
Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. I mean,
which
sometimes
you wouldn't think it would be like that because cable has different points of resistance. I don't know.
sometimes cables have different pulley things to
Yeah.
hold or let go of more weight.
Mhm.
So sometimes we had an old pulley system at the gym and it went up in like 10, 20, 30, 40,
Right.
50 up to 150. The 150 was actually only 75 pounds because the cable took half the weight
Oh
because of the
my.
cable pulley. So you're doing
Yeah.
like 110.
Yeah, ours definitely is not like that. It is like straight death. It's
Yeah.
so heavy.
Yeah.
So I've been supersetting that, and a lot of my clients they really despise it, but it's so funny. Like when my clients are struggling and they're like kind of shaking a little bit,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like a piece of me is like, yeah, I love my job.
Well, what I love about it is that it's something they've never really, obviously, assuming this is more of like a newer
Yeah.
client, something that they haven't experienced, and you're witnessing and running them through that experience for the first time.
Well, it's like I'm laughing with you, not at you, because
Exactly.
I know how you feel.
Exactly. It's like if I was laughing at you, you should just leave because
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and you probably wouldn't be getting any benefit from my program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's that it's like I don't know about you, but whenever I see someone kind of going through that struggle for the first time,
Yeah.
I often think of like when I was going through that, when I was learning and really for the first time experiencing what it meant to like train my biceps. It's like I have a vivid
Contract the muscle
yeah,
properly.
it's like I have a vivid memory of the first few times that I started actually squatting weight
Yeah.
and how weird that felt. Like I have videos of it. Like I recorded all these videos. It's funny. I was taking all those videos of
Yeah.
everything before I was even posting on Instagram.
Right.
Um, and I have them, and my form is not great. Surprisingly, wasn't horrible for me
Okay.
knowing nothing. I can actually show you later if I
Yeah, I would like
remember.
to see it.
Um,
My squat when I first started using a barbell, it was scary.
yeah, my depth was the biggest issue. But that feeling of like, man, there's 120 pounds on my back,
Yeah,
and I'm like
yeah.
squatting it. And I'm like, my quads like feel something. My quads had never felt anything. The only
Yeah.
things that my quads had felt at that point was the pain the searing pain they felt when I was doing the beep test.
Oh yeah.
But that is a different
I
feeling.
forgot about that.
That is a different
See,
feeling.
like from my perspective, is that like, yeah, when you start working out, it's a different feeling.
Yeah,
I was already used to leg soreness, but that was from running
totally.
or from doing
Yeah.
sports and whatnot. So I was used to like contracting that muscle,
Mhm.
but it's so different when you're repetition after
So
repetition
different.
and then going to do it again the week after, you know? Yeah, when you see your clients experiencing that, and
It's awesome.
it's not necessarily because I know that they're enjoying it. It's because I
Oh, they
know
are,
what's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
come from it,
Yep.
right? Like the result that we're working
Because
towards.
you've seen the years of
Yeah.
results that you've seen that you
Yeah.
have from the years of work you put in.
Yeah.
So you can kind of imagine, wow, they're starting this.
Yeah.
Imagine where they're gonna be.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
I mean, I will say most of my gains that I've made have shot through the roof since I've been certified. Since I've been
I believe that.
educated
I believe that.
in what I'm doing, and like I can understand how to
Yeah.
like have a solid program
Yeah.
and like how to work out properly, or I mean, and not even properly. There's like 800 different ways you can go about working out and have an effective program. But prior to that, it was just showing up to the gym, do what I know, typically leg day, core. Maybe I would try to throw in the odd bicep curl, but there wasn't like a whole lot of.
If you're feeling like
Yeah, if I'm
up
feeling a
to
little
it.
frisky,
Yeah,
it'd be in
bicep curl.
the free weight section, and yeah, it wasn't so much. I was still, and like again, I was doing sports, so like I was in shape, but I wasn't. I guess my goal at the time wasn't to be like I want my shoulders to look like this. I want my legs to look like this.
Yeah.
It was just being active because I knew it was good for me, which is I guess stems into why I became a trainer, even though I didn't know what I was doing in the gym.
Yeah.
Because
Totally. Yeah.
I just knew like the benefit of it and how it can impact people's life. But then now since I've been certified, I didn't know my body could look like this.
Mhm.
And I don't
Yeah.
mean that in like a braggy way, but like
Brag.
it's so
Do it.
cool to
You can brag.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see your body literally morph.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, I was never skinny. I was
Yeah.
always average amount of fat.
Yeah, I would
And,
say the same for
and
myself.
then I just have like a normal frame.
Yeah.
Right? People beside me would look a lot skinnier, but there are also people beside me that would look way bigger than me.
Right.
Right? And so also with my height, it makes me look naturally a little bit wider in a good way.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Because when you're like 5'7", then
Yeah, yeah,
muscle
yeah. When you're
looks,
tall, it's not easy
yeah, it's
to.
not as easy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a
Um,
journey.
and so being able to see myself go from that to like have a lot of muscle
Yeah,
is it's really cool because I never absolutely hated what I looked like.
yeah.
But the progression has really opened my eyes to
What's what can
ab
come? Yeah,
exactly, right?
yeah. Same thing. I didn't have a problem with the way that I looked before, but then now it's. Oh, and you know what? It's honestly awful because before I had absolutely no issue, and then now I'm working out and my body's changing, and it's just like I look in the mirror, I'm like, like,
The shoulders could be wider.
yeah. Well, that's actually something I'm trying to like not make wider right
It's
now.
because I only said it because you
Yeah, I
literally said
know.
it to me
I
earlier.
know. I'm feeling a little husky right now. Yeah.
Like a little husky.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know, that's good.
I was busting my balls on my shoulders for a long time just because I love it. Like I love the way it feels. And then I didn't realize that my shoulders were getting wider, even though I take progress photos more than I
It
should.
just hits you one day.
Well, no, no, no. Someone came up to me. A member came up to me, and they're like,
Oh, okay.
"Your shoulders, like I can see your rear delts like pop when you're lifting your weight." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "No, like it's so cool." I'm like, I start flexing in the mirror. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it's cool." And then I go home. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I am so wide." And I didn't hit me until someone brought it up.
Hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good
Thank you.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but expanding on like it just hits you one day.
Mhm.
Again, when I first started training, I that's when I understood what I was doing in the gym.
Mhm.
And my it's funny when my longest standing clients that were with me when I started, they'll often bring up like, "Ah, it's crazy how your body has changed," and
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they started with me when I was still like trying to figure out
That's
my own
fun. Yeah.
programming, right?
Yeah.
And so they've
Yeah.
seen my body change just as much as I've seen their body change. And I mean, we're starting at different points here because I've been doing athletics and I've lifted weights for a little
Mhm.
while. Um, but uh yeah, I'll get like approval from my clients as
Yeah,
well.
and
And
that's funny because
yeah,
you literally heard one of my clients do that to
yeah,
me
yeah,
at the
literally
gym
today, like
today.
the progress, I
He's
see
like
it.
he's like, "I saw the before and
Yeah,
after. Holy
yeah,
shit, man."
yeah.
Like, right? It's and I didn't even realize
And it feels
yeah,
good coming from your clients.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that means they're paying attention to you as well.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it's like even that one client that I talked about with the squat,
Hmm.
he many times has come up to me and been like, "Man, like your squat's really improving like too, right?
Yeah.
Like you're actually doing really well as well." It's like that's actually really cool that you're progressing so much
Right.
too. And it's when you I don't for me it's like when you coach so many people you forget about your own progress a
Yep.
lot more and it's very easy to just you do
Just
your
show up to your workout,
yeah and you don't think
get the
about
shit done,
it.
and
Yeah.
then yeah,
It's not in
move
your
on.
head. You're so focused on improving other people
Yeah.
that like you don't really
I mean, like
think
in the
about it.
moment of like doing a set, I'm like, okay, like engage this, do
Of
this, blah
course.
blah
And then
blah.
after I'm like, man, my bicep looks big.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like
Like take a photo. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
go home and make a
exactly.
new program for someone
Exactly.
else.
Yeah. That's the life, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, what would you say is your goal? Like your fitness
My
goals? What are
fitness
your
goal.
fitness goals?
Is it bad of me to just say glutes?
Honestly, I'd understand. Same.
That.
Same. Mine are good enough.
Well, like no, not actually, but that's
Sort of.
well, I actually, funny enough, I'm starting to really hate it.
Hate it.
Maybe not hate. That's a strong word, but like
Interesting.
dislike the soreness. Like I used to like leave
Ah,
like have a leg or gluten hammy day, and I'd wake up the next morning I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. I'm like, yeah, that I definitely did something yesterday.
yeah.
I'm still sore from my gluten hammy day that was 3 days ago, and which is normal, very normal.
It's normal, but
But like I'm over it. Like
yeah.
it can go away. Just sitting on the ride here was
It's so
like
funny. Yeah.
uncomfortable.
When I would always the biggest thing that I can always think of whenever my glutes and hamstrings are really really sore is sitting on the toilet. is
Well, yeah,
pain.
that's very normal.
Pain. But that is the one thing that annoyed
I'll
me the
sit there a little
most.
bit longer than I probably should
Yeah, and
because like I don't want to get up.
I have to put my hand on the side, and I have to help myself
Yeah,
up
yeah.
because it just hurts. And
Before I sit down, it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3.
yeah, I had to mentally
Yeah,
prep myself. Well, there was one
yeah.
morning, it was a couple months ago, where I
That's such a
forgot.
good feeling, like knowing that
It
you're like
is, it
putting your
is,
body in that
yeah.
state. Yeah.
But I forgot that I had trained legs, and I don't like it the next morning, and like I forgot that I was gonna be sore. So
Okay.
like I hopped out of bed,
Yeah.
and my brain hadn't like like as I was
Registered.
so tired, my brain
Yeah.
hadn't like registered that my legs were really sore. And then I kind of got up, jumped out of bed, I walked to the bathroom, and then I sit down, and it's like excruciating pain. But because I did it so fast, because I wasn't thinking about it, just I went
It
through
hit
it.
you.
It just I went through it all, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that woke me up, and I'm like, I'm awake now.
Yeah, no
I'm awake
kidding.
now, and then I had to mentally prep myself to go on with the rest of my day. A lot of the job that I was working at the time was squatting down, like
Ugh.
into like a half squat position.
Yeah.
Because I have to kind of bend down, come down, and then write something on a box, and then
Yeah,
stand up
I had a
again.
job like that too when I was in the midst of
Okay,
working
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, pain.
Yeah.
But your goals,
Yeah.
you were saying,
I really don't know.
you
It's
can think long term, like 5 years.
yeah. Like I would love to get into competition. We were talking about this
Mhm.
earlier. Like I would love to get into competing. I like the idea of bodybuilding, like bikini. Um just cuz like you see how glorious and like all the like it looks awesome. Like it
Yeah.
looks so fun, but like the like competitor athlete in me, like I just want to throw some weight over my head.
Mhm.
Like again,
Absolutely.
powerlifting, specifically Olympic lifts, if I could do that, like that's so badass. I could throw like 150 pounds, just snatch that over my head, or hopefully more than that.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
there was an influencer that I talked to, got somewhat close with for a while. I was actually going to do a podcast with him, and ended up not working out.
Okay.
This is sometime last year. His name's Levi Mack.
Okay.
He has a YouTube channel as well. He did a thing. He challenged himself. I think within 2 weeks of each other, he did a bodybuilding competition and a powerlifting
No,
competition.
what kind? Like squat, deadlift, and
Yes.
chest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chest, bench,
Bench.
press.
Yeah. And he did those 2 weeks apart. I think something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he made like a whole video series about it. And it was honestly a really
That's
interesting.
pretty cool.
It was a really interesting experience to watch because
What did he do first? The bodybuilding.
he did bodybuilding for no. Which did he do first? I'd have to go look. I want to say he did bodybuilding first. And then he loaded up.
That's
and did-
crazy.
yeah, but he went
I
through the
would
whole
have thought
prep.
to do the powerlifting first.
He might have. To be
Yeah.
honest, he might have. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But like he placed, I think, top 3 in both. Like he did really good. Like he was so lean, so cut.
Yeah.
For the bodybuilding competition, and then he's going and squatting like 365.
That's crazy that
and
you can
then
just put your body through something like that.
yeah,
Because being lean and cut and then going to push that amount of weight
so
a week
difficult.
or 2 weeks later,
So
that
difficult.
that doesn't sound
I mean-
human.
I mean, from a realistic standpoint, you have to accept that you're going to be a little more mediocre
Yeah.
in both
Oh, of
because
course.
you're doing both. But
you
it was
can't be great at all things. But
Exactly.
you can be great at one thing.
Exactly.
Well, I was kind of like when I was doing track, I was doing heptathlon.
You're doing what?
Heptathlon.
Oh,
The
I don't know what that is, but I've heard of it. I don't know what that includes.
I
but-
could be using the wrong word, and I might make myself sound stupid, but like 8 events.
Yeah.
And there was the few that I like really excelled at,
Mhm.
and then I had to learn the other ones. And I was like,
You just had to just get that you weren't going to be as
good. Even at
competitive in them.
even the ones that I was really good at, I was gonna slack on those a little bit because I had to spend more time
True,
on
even,
other
yeah.
areas, right? I mean, looking back at it now, I wish I denied my coach forcing me to do that. He was like, I see a lot of potential in you, Alyssa. You could do this. Because like the athletes that compete in like more than 3 events, it's like when it comes to like high level track, it's like you're insane. Like in my opinion, track athletes are like inhuman. Just the way that you train, like
Yeah.
it's so intense. And I'm not saying other athletes the way that they train aren't intense, but like I don't know how to describe it. Maybe I'm just being biased, but like there's times where I would finish a 2-hour workout or session or whatever, 2 or 3 hours, and I'm
Yeah.
like wanting to yak.
I believe that.
Yeah, and
I believe that.
and it's not like a bad feeling like where I feel sick. It's just like my body is like rejecting how much
Mhm.
stress I put onto it.
So realistically, do you genuinely see yourself competing? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
At some point. Like
Okay.
I have to get myself
So
to that point.
so what does that mean to you? Like at some point, I know multiple people who have said to me, I love the idea of competing and I would like
Yeah.
to compete, but that doesn't
Nice
mean
to translate that they would.
yeah, right?
I think it's the athlete in me. Like this is very like I don't want to say touchy, but like a tender topic for myself. When I quit university, the what was the hardest? I know I said that I just like clicked a button and whatnot, but
Mhm.
there was a few weeks prior to that I was already debating leaving, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that was holding me back was track because I like just the whole ambiance of being on a team
Yeah.
and competing and being a high level athlete and like to say that I could do I actually had a small scholarship down in the States for softball. That was my
Oh,
first
really?
sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID messed that up for me. Couldn't cross the border. So I didn't get to go do that. And I mean, it was a very small scholarship, but like it was still something, right?
Still, of course.
And it
Like that's
proved
an
to me,
honor.
yeah, and it proved
Yeah.
to me that I was able to have that enough athleticism or like skill to get down
Mhm.
to go do that, right? And like that was a goal of mine my entire life was to play college ball. And yeah, COVID obviously messed it up. So then I fell back onto track and I did that at the U of M instead. And um, leaving university felt like I was giving up my childhood, if you will,
Yeah.
because of like being on a team and being athletic. You can
Mm.
still be an athlete without being on a team.
Of course.
Right. And that is something that I've had to work through mentally.
Yep.
Like it's like a mental turmoil thing that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it. Like once you stop playing, like one random day, I just stopped playing sports. And that was my entire identity growing up. Right.
That's
It was
so was it that abrupt? Like was
yeah.
it really was, hey?
Yeah. Like when I had to stop playing softball, that's really like honestly hurt me more than having to stop track. Um, like, cause that was like my pride and joy. If
Mhm.
you knew Alyssa, you knew softball. Like,
Fair enough. Yeah.
yeah, and that was all of me. And yeah, I just eventually I just stopped playing softball because you get older and no longer on a team. I didn't continue it through to university, and then it was just COVID happened. And when COVID was happening, I didn't really dawn on me that like I was done with softball because in my head everything in the world was taking a break.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
And then COVID ended, and then I started university. I'm like, shh, I haven't touched a ball in over a year. And I used to have a ball in my hand
Almost
4 to 5
daily.
times a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it like hit me. I was like, okay, well, at least I can fall back on a track. At least I still have some sort of sports or a
Mhm.
team that I'm a part of. And then when I had to quit track, that was like when it really hit. I have a note in my phone.
Okay.
Let me pull it up here. I'm not gonna read it because it's like almost like a dear diary kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I've actually been getting into journaling a lot recently, but like writing it down.
Journaling is incredible.
Oh yeah.
If anyone isn't journaling and listening to this,
Yeah,
journaling is
it saves.
it saves your brain from so many mental hardships
Oh yeah.
because like there's a quote, I think it's from like Seneca from like stoicism,
Okay.
whatever times. It's like you often suffer more in your head than in reality.
Oh yeah.
It's like you suffer more within your mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Your mind is your worst and best. How do I describe that? It's your enemy, but it's also your support system. I don't
yeah,
know.
like it just depends on how much control you can have
Yeah.
over it, right?
Yeah. It depends on how much you've grown as a person,
And
right?
disciplined yourself
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
But the note that I made going based off of like leaving, this was
Mm.
honestly what brought me to Google how do I do personal training
Okay.
without post-secondary because I was afraid to look at other options because
Mhm.
that meant I had to leave university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So the note I wrote why I don't play and I shouldn't look down on myself for it because I felt like my entire identity was playing sports and being good at sports and excelling in it and uh I don't want to say making a name for myself because it's not like I did, but like you growing up, if you knew me, you knew that I was an athlete. Like
Yeah.
that was just my thing, right?
Yeah.
And also like not to mention like that's how my dad and I have built our relationship on. Like since I was a literal child, like we have pictures of me as like I can't even hold my head up yet, and I'm wearing a hockey jersey, like a little baby hockey jersey. Like
So good.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I've just my identity is sports, and I felt like if I was leaving that behind, I was leaving behind my childhood, I was leaving behind my identity, I was having to let go of something that made me feel like me, which was competing, working hard, and I can't describe to you when you're practicing and it's not like training, right? Like training
Hmm.
is great and whatnot.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I'm a trainer, but like you're training to get to like a goal, right? I would be practicing for my next game, which is very different. I don't know how to explain it, but like when you're practicing with your team and you're like throwing around the ball and then practice ends and you're so tired and like you're ready for your meal, but then now you're prepared for your game that's happening in 2 days,
Yeah.
and then you bust your balls when you're playing the game. I just don't know how to experience it unless you've experienced or
To-
explain it unless you've experienced it.
Totally. And I mean, like I've had the experience of playing a lot of, pretty high pressure like hockey
Yeah.
games and other sports. Never as much, nearly as much as you,
Yeah.
obviously. But I know that feeling going through like that kind of team, based
Yeah.
game where
Or like
you,
even just like having to let go of something that was like part of you,
yeah,
heavily a part of you for a long time. And that could be a person, that could be
yeah,
a thing or
like with COVID, I've essentially, so I was playing hockey and I was never playing on a very high level team.
yeah.
I was playing more or less recreationally.
Yeah.
Growing up, I did do like minor hockey.
Okay.
So I could have progressed into something
Right.
very,
If you continued on with
yeah.
it.
But around like grade 7, I moved to rec hockey. And so I did that every week for about 7 years.
Okay.
And so, it's not like that often, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not that 4 to 5 times a week like you
No,
had,
but
right?
a sport is
But
a sport and you
yeah,
feel included and it's the way that it makes you feel. It
exactly,
doesn't matter how
right?
many
And
times you're doing
so
it.
I did that for 7 years straight.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and then obviously that didn't happen.
Literally just one
And
random Thursday, you're done playing a sport.
yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
so 2020, I pretty much was done, and I think 2019 I had also not done rec hockey because I was taking a 1 year break to
Okay.
do a whole year of floor hockey with my friend who had decided, he was like, I'm doing this whole big thing every day or every week, all of this season, and I was like, you know what, I'll do it with you for once. So I
Yeah.
did this whole thing with him, and then yeah, then the next year I couldn't do hockey because of COVID,
Right.
and after that I was too old to do rec.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Since 2020, I've probably um put on skates like 5 times, six
well, that's
times,
yeah. That's
right?
same with me
In
putting a glove on my hand.
in
Oh,
four
it's
in four
horrible.
years since then. And since then, what I've
That like gave
also,
me chills just like you saying that. Like
yeah, right?
to
It's
think about how often you did it, and then now it's just
like it's been my favorite sport for my whole life, and
yeah,
I just don't do it, right?
yeah.
And that's when in turn I've actually become a tennis player now,
That's really
right?
cool. That's actually something I've been wanting to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've
We have had that
yeah.
conversation. Yeah. Tennis is coming for you.
Yeah, I know.
It's
That's something my dad honestly was like, "Okay, you need to get into this." And I was
absolutely,
like, "No, I'm too focused on softball or track." Like that was just
yeah.
I was stubborn in that sense, but he was like,
I literally have my tennis
"Yeah, I know,
bracelet
I
right there.
noticed."
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, you need to you got strength, speed
Yep.
and size.
Yep.
You need to do it."
100%.
Yeah, it's something I want to get into.
So, yeah, tennis has been incredible because it's become my favorite sport, and just to show how much it means to you, to me, um, it is. I guess just to say how much this podcast means to me, it's because right now there's a tennis match on that is my two favorite
Oh
tennis players my
my.
two favorite tennis players are playing each other right now, and
Did
the
you notice when I said if we could go for this Saturday?
oh, of course.
You could have
Well,
said
okay. Well,
like,
to be
"Hey."
fair, I didn't know they would make it. Like, I didn't know
Okay,
that
okay.
wasn't a guarantee that they would
Okay.
make it. I knew that they had the ability. I knew that they would
I
most
feel
likely.
so bad
No,
now.
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I didn't say that to make you feel bad.
Yeah, yeah.
But so the game started at like 4.
Well,
Um,
that was when we were supposed to end, but someone.
that me, someone
Yeah.
is me. Messed up audio and everything. But yeah. So they're playing right now, and the winner goes to the finals.
Okay.
So we're gonna see what
Well,
happens.
maybe you can watch that.
Maybe if it's the game could be as short as an hour and 20 minutes, and it could be as long as 3.5 hours. So
Oh
we'll
my.
see. There could be a lot
I
left.
don't understand tennis. Like
It's
it's something I want to
oh,
understand,
it's
but like
so
it's
good.
just watching
Maybe
it without knowing the
maybe I'll
rules.
throw the game on at some point after the podcast, give you an idea actually what it looks like.
Well, I've watched it. I just don't understand the rules. I
Yeah,
just
of course.
yeah.
It's very formal
Yeah.
sport.
I know badminton because I played that, but
same. That's the one sport. That
yeah.
see the one sport.
Like how excited you got.
Yeah, badminton.
Yeah, I did that for 4 years. I
Then
think.
you'll be pretty quick with tennis if it's
Yeah.
something you actually want to pick up.
I wasn't good at badminton. That I honestly, okay, again, not to toot my own horn, but for majority of my life, I could pick up any kind of sport or physical kind of activity, and it was like pretty natural. Like it was like I could pick it up and like I was like, oh, she's never done this before. Doesn't look like it.
Wow.
But badminton was just
not.
no, and I made me mad. That's why I kept doing it. There was a part of me that was like, okay, I want to stop this because I'm not good at it.
Was it because it was a racket sport? Was racket sports new to you, or
I'm used to swinging a bat around.
That's fair.
Like
that's
what
true.
in my head I was like, why doesn't this work in my brain? And so I kept doing it just because it made me so angry that I couldn't do it. And same with golfing. Honestly, golfing can.
Golfing's iconic.
I love it. I love it.
You know.
I can't do it. Because I gotta. And this is ridiculous. I should be able to translate how to properly like go down and turn my shoulders and whatnot, but it's just a baseball swing. Like you get me to swing a club and it looks like I'm swinging a bat. It's ridiculous. Like it's bad. But I can hit a puck. Like
so that's something
you would think I could translate that into golfing, but it just can't. I can't.
Fair.
Yeah, golfing and badminton are two things that my brain just can't. Oh, and then also like what's it called? Not dangerous sports. Like snowboarding. What is that called?
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's a word for it. Extreme sports.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah? Is that what it's called?
I might sound really stupid right now, but
depending on the level of snowboarding you're doing, it could be extreme.
Well, yeah, but it's snowboarding, skateboarding,
skiing probably in there as well.
Yeah. Is that the
just
word?
Sounds like the Winter Olympics, to be honest. Sounds
no, like but skateboarding.
That's not part of the Winter Olympics. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Sports like that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. So, no.
I wish because those in my head when I watch people do that kind of stuff, I'm like, you look so cool right now.
So cool.
Yeah, but I could never.
I've skied once. I don't remember the name of the fun. No, what's the name of the ski place? I was gonna say Fun Mountain. That's also a really sad story. Have you seen it recently? Like,
no.
It's completely demolished, torn down, gone. Oh no.
I've never been.
Oh.
I feel like I missed out on a good chunk of childhood for I went to Tinkertown.
That's literally beside.
I know.
It's literally next door.
I'm aware. That's why I said that.
No, COVID actually killed Fun Mountain.
Really?
It's actually like half of the
water
slides
are
there. It's like completely like the owners just sold it and then let it get destroyed because no one took care of it.
Right.
But Tinkertown was also amazing. I only went to Fun Mountain twice, but whatever ski hill snowboarding place is like an hour from here. I don't remember the name of it.
I couldn't tell you.
Went there once in grade 6. For a field trip. I did ski. I only went down I think it was the green level hill, which is the beginner hill that there's ones that like go up that are up here that are like pretty steep and a little bit like windy. Have like a tree in the middle or something. I was on the one like down here that was like
a small decline.
Yeah, like mine was definitely it was so weak, so small.
Yeah.
But I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
Because I felt so proud that I could actually make it down one. That was like, I was petrified doing it the first time.
Or water sports. Sorry, not to interrupt.
No, water sports are the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm arguably worse at water sports.
I would say worse because like at least like you're on land. You're born on land.
Yep.
You're not a fish, right? Like water sports, they're so fun. They're so fun. I've done kneeboarding, obviously.
Why is that obvious? I haven't done kneeboarding.
Well, I feel like that's like I feel like kneeboarding and like being on a tube is like the most like introductory.
Fair.
Whatever. Anyways,
kneeboarding definitely would be an intro.
Yeah, kneeboarding, water skiing, and then wakeboarding. Oh my!
I've wakeboarded once.
That shit is so hard. It is
so hard.
It's so hard to get up. Like in my opinion, like I couldn't. Okay, water skiing, whole different level of like impossibility. Like I think when I was trying to get up, I got up once. I lasted maybe 10 seconds, but I tried to get up on the skis probably like 14 times in a row and just slam right in the water. Like I can't explain the sheer amount of pain that I was experiencing hours after we got out of the water. Not even the next day. The next day was a different story.
The soreness.
Yeah, but water skiing is like damn near impossible. I don't know if there's different ways to get up, but I was starting up with my legs
Okay,
crossed.
because I've never water skied, so you'll have to
It,
explain it to me. Yeah.
I can't explain it to
Fair
you.
enough. Okay, fair enough. Because
um,
I have done. Were you gonna say something else or?
you're good.
Okay, so I went wakeboarding once.
Yeah.
With a very rich family that
That's
their
when I went
friends
to skiboarding or the skiboarding. What's it called? Water skiing.
water skiing.
Yeah. Very
And
rich
they
family.
invited. There was a whole dynamic where Dylan and I went.
Yeah.
We knew someone who had a cousin who was really rich on the same lake that my friend's cabin was.
Okay.
And so we went there for Canada Day. Went wakeboarding. And the owner of the boat, I won't get into it. Very interesting family. Very weird family. However, he said this thing. He's like, I have a way of discerning someone's career based on how fast they get up on a
What?
water ski. Oh, on a wakeboard.
On a wakeboard?
Yeah.
I got up on my first try.
Oh, really?
But go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you're probably gonna like this. He said people who get up on their first try are like successful entrepreneurs.
Okay.
He was like, people who take like 2 to 4 tries,
Yeah.
they have potential, right? He's like,
Potential.
people who take 5 or more tries, they're McDonald's employees.
Oh my.
That's
That's
what he-
a very drastic change.
Oh, it is like you're on the
It's like-
peak
it's like
and then
doot,
you're
doot.
on the bottom. It was something along those lines, but I remember him saying that, and I remember
I didn't get up after that though. I got
Okay.
up once, and then
I think I got up on my third.
okay, I got up on my
Third or
first
fourth.
try, and then
Yeah, but like also 10 seconds, like you said. That's all that I had.
no, but my water skiing
Was
lasted 10 seconds.
okay, yeah,
my
that's-
wakeboarding, it was like a solid 30 seconds to
Oh, solid.
45. Like it was
Okay.
like a good
Nice.
first try,
Nice.
and then I fell, obviously, and then we retried like 3 or 4 more times, and I was like, okay, I'm done. This was like a completely different time than the water skiing.
Yes, of course.
I was like, I've experienced this, like trying to go over
Yep.
and over and over again, and my body can't take it the next day. So we're gonna stop at 4 tries.
I went tubing, and we went tubing. It was really intense. too,
that I know it's not like I don't know if
It's not.
a sport.
I mean, holding on, it could be a homemade sport type thing.
I
Who
will
can hold
make
on
it
longer?
competitive though.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And you're sore.
Oh
And
yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I love tubing. It's so fun. Kneeboarding is. You said you haven't tried
I've
it.
never kneeboarded.
It's actually so fun because it's like the idea of wakeboarding, but
it's
so much easier.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like so you
For
get
some
to do
reason,
the
I just
whole.
didn't start with that. I don't know why.
I didn't either. I started with the skiing and then I did the wakeboarding.
You
and
started with the skiing. That's even.
Yeah, I in my opinion that's the hardest water
I have
sport.
to think so. It's like these. Yeah. I
Well,
don't know.
and like imagine like water at that speed, and I'm not a man. Your legs can just split, and you're hitting concrete.
But you have the flexibility, though. You know, you can.
But you also have strength, which like now I
Now-
probably feel like it would have been fine. I did
True.
this in like grade 8.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, I
point.
had like natural strength from my sports, but that was
Yeah,
just
okay.
about it. Probably
Okay.
more flexible then than I am now, but that doesn't help.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess we've deviated.
Give me a ball, a bat, or a stick. I'll figure it out.
You figured out. Okay.
You give me something that I need to rely on my point of movement on,
Yeah.
like a skateboard. No.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I can get my head around that. I agree for the most part. It will be it'll be interesting to see if you pick up tennis quickly or not.
I know.
Because it sounds like it's in between something you'd be good at
badminton
and
and softball. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, so moving back maybe I guess a little bit more to
Yeah. Sorry, we bunny trailed.
no, it's all good. It's the whole point. To some fitness related stuff. One question that I wrote down that I really did want to make sure I asked, and this is one of the ones that I had sent you beforehand, is do you have any common misconceptions?
I knew you were gonna ask this one.
Or,
Yeah.
or anything that you find the clients that you have often believe.
That was the one question that
That you
stood
could-
out to me when you
okay.
asked, and I was like, okay, I need to really think about this one.
Yeah.
No way. Your brain is not doing. I wrote it down. Can I please look?
Absolutely. Yeah. For context, I
Yeah.
sent Alyssa a set of like questions that I was going to ask her.
Okay, right.
Pretty much, especially if we didn't have that much to say.
Yeah.
If there was not a lot of natural conversation, we were still gonna make it work.
Yeah.
And so I only think I've asked 2 of them
Really?
out of the 10, at least straight. Well, the plan isn't to get through all of them.
Yeah,
The plan is to have them to fall back on.
Right.
But you said, yeah. So the question is just, do you have any common misconceptions that Clients or just people that you see in the gym would
Right.
often believe that you would like to publicly debunk per se.
Spot training. That is like a big thing for myself. And I guess prior to being like certified, I never really thought of spot training because again, I wasn't in a state where I like disliked my body, so
You
I
didn't
didn't.
have a big belly that you wanted to spot reduce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I didn't think about it, so I
Hmm.
didn't really think if it was real or not. But then when I say once I became a trainer and like people started coming to me for advice, and then once I started getting clients, the one of the first questions, how do I get rid of my arm fat?
Yeah.
How do I get rid of my belly? How do I get rid of this? I'm like, and because of my training, I knew this, but then now I've thought about it. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense. Spot training makes absolutely no sense.
But when you know nothing and
Yes.
you look
Yes.
at, well, I can make my bicep bigger by training my biceps.
Yeah, you can
Why can't I
spot train your muscles,
yeah.
but you can't spot train your fat.
You can't spot reduce fat. It's like
Yeah.
it just there's no your body decides which fat it takes.
Yeah, your body decides where it wants to store fat and it decides where it wants to lose fat first. The best way to go about it is train all your muscles. And well, also just to make sure that you're not having any muscular imbalances.
Yeah.
One side's not weak, or one group of. Basically, if you want to be successful in the gym, you want everything to be well rounded, right? Like
Absolutely.
you're not going to be able to grow big glutes. Let's say if you really want to get your hip thrust up. Well, maybe that's not a good example. Let's say a squat.
Yeah.
Let's say a back squat. You want to
Okay.
get your back squat up and you want to lift heavy and like, and honestly, like I'm not saying squats are like the end all be all for growing your glutes, but it really does. Recently, for some reason, I've been feeling my glutes activate a lot when I do a back squat.
Just stabilizers.
Yeah. And I think that's just because now my body's starting to like even out.
And you're training heavier.
Yep. But let's say you want to get to that point and you can't have a nice heavy squat if you don't have the core to hold it up, and you're not training your core, you're not training your shoulders or whatever, your traps and whatnot. Like, yeah. So spot training makes me so angry, and I get it. All my I without fail, I don't think I've had a single client that doesn't ask me, how do I get rid of this, or like what can I do to get rid of this? Specifically the question, what exercise can I do to reduce this?
Yeah. Well, it's like
it's just sweat.
Sweat, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when someone comes to me, and I'm sure to you too,
Yeah.
and wants to lose weight, which is really common, you often have to bring them to the realization of, at the end of the day, there's only so much that you're going to have to be able to do in the gym. You're going to have to start taking a look at the rest of your lifestyle.
Yep.
And being an in-person trainer.
Well, and also just changing your mindset.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
Your mindset around it. And then you're going to have to, realize that at the end of the day, a lot of what's going to help you reduce this, stomach fat, arm fat, isn't going to be something that I'm doing directly with you. It's going to be these compounding habits that you're going to build up that I can help you figure out.
Yeah.
But it's something that you
it's
do.
Like you're a life coach.
Yeah. At the end of the
which really makes me
love it.
Well, I can't talk. I'm getting excited. It gets me more excited about my job, and it makes me love it so much. It's like someone thinks they're hiring you to like make their muscles big or to lose weight, but I know there's so much more you're gonna get out of me than just me giving you a program to follow. I'm gonna change the way that you bring. Recently, what I've been discovering, and like I've said to a couple people, sorry, I'm like all over the place. I've said to a couple people, my biggest accomplishment, or like the thing that I love to see the most out of my clients, is seeing their brain change over the course of being with them. Yeah. I have this one client, and she's just she started with me, she's just a little bit in her shell, like a little bit, and like not like she more or less is training like me, if you will. And so, which is awesome. I love having clients. I love all my clients. I love all my babies. But
all my babies.
Yeah.
That's cute.
But the ones that train like me, I have a few. It feels a little bit more natural, I guess, if you will, because I'm just training them how they train me. There's not,
of course,
like an extra thought of like, okay, well now I need to fix her hip problem, or you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so she's just a little bit in her shell. And we're only like 3 months into her training, and she's already just this little butterfly. And she's my youngest client, I think. Oh, I freaking love her. It's so sweet to see their clients' brains and the way that they keep themselves disciplined, or just their mental state change. Right? It's almost more awesome seeing that change than their body.
Yeah, right? Because at the end
Yeah,
of the day, what makes a bigger difference is their mindset
the person they
and is the
are.
person
Yeah,
that, it's the soul,
yeah.
the actual brain behind the
Right,
person,
and they're
right?
gonna remember me a lot more. If I didn't say a single thing to them and I got their body to what they wanted it to be, they're gonna be grateful, yeah. But if I didn't form a relationship with them, they're not gonna remember me.
Yeah.
The 30 years down the line, right? Maybe they'll remember me because I helped them get to some point, but it's not gonna be like a lasting impact. Oh, Alyssa taught me this. I want to
Hmm.
apply this now when I'm 20 plus years
Yeah.
past that point of her being my trainer.
Yeah. It's like, it'll be the difference of, yeah, this trainer back in the day helped me
Look this way.
rather than Alyssa really changed my state of mind, right?
Yeah.
Because you remember that name
Or I know how
when,
important drinking water is because it
yeah.
does X, Y, and Z for me or
Hmm.
whatever, right?
And then they
Um,
get to debunk that to all the people that they meet.
yeah, yeah. I love my job.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh
No,
goodness.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, would you say that there's anything that you think anyone listening to this podcast, if there's any one thing that they could start implementing, start doing in their life more, um, no matter where they're at, maybe far along in a fitness journey or not, something that they should just start doing if they aren't already?
Very good
If you had
question.
to maybe focus in on one thing, I know you've talked a lot about water today, but would you say that there's
That
anything
was gonna
that
be something I was gonna mention, but I was like, maybe I've said enough.
double down? But
um,
yeah, is there anything that you would suggest?
just freaking start. Like I know that's so ridiculous and so cliche and like obvious, but the thing that stops people from going further into activity, whether it is getting into a sport or training or just trying to lose weight, whatever it is just starting. And it's your brain, right? It's your brain that holds you back. It's not your
Hmm.
body. Your body's gonna be sore when you start and it sucks and it feels like shit, but you adapt to it, your body adapts to it, and your body is capable of it. The thing that people I find don't understand if they're not aware is that their body is far more capable, whether you're in a severe overweight state or underweight or you're kind of just like in between. Your body is far more capable to do things than you give it credit for because we've grown up in such a sedentary we live in such a sedentary world that sitting and not doing anything is so normalized, obviously. But if
Yeah.
one thing I really like to say when I'm trying to like onboard someone is if you look at a child, let's say 5, 6 years old, do they sit still? No, because they want to move. Innately, your body
That's
wants
pretty
to
good.
move,
That's
right?
good. I like that.
Yeah,
I
and
like
as
that.
you age, because of the world that we live in, it's taught not to move. So
Hmm.
then you don't move,
We
right?
do live in a sedentary world.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I said that word wrong, didn't I? Anyways.
So you're good.
Oh my lord.
So
Um yeah, but yeah, basically is just to do it.
yeah,
Like tell
just
yourself,
do it.
yeah, and whether you continue it or you can stay on a consistent basis, that's where discipline comes into play and whatnot, and that's something you can mentally work on and work towards. But you do one workout if you've never worked out or let's say you didn't work out for 5 years and you do one session, one 30-minute session, I
Hmm.
bet whoever is doing it, you're gonna feel so good afterwards.
Yep.
Maybe not in the moment, it's gonna feel like this sucks.
Walk out of it being like, man, look what I just did for
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. A, you accomplish
Yeah.
something. B, your heart is pumping blood more efficiently throughout your body, even if it's just for the rest of the day, and then you go to bed and it's
Hmm.
kind of back to normal or what you're used to the day after. But um, endorphins are running, right?
Yeah.
Like you immediately feel activity again. Innately, your body wants to move your body. Just do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I have one question for you, and this is one I did not prep you for.
Ugh.
Um, I asked this to, and I almost forgot to ask it. I only just remembered while
Yeah.
you were talking. It's what I've asked every single person I've interviewed on my podcast. Um, are you happy?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a very happy person. It's hard for me to be negative. I like to think that I live a happy life with bumps in the road, not a bumpy road with happy moments, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah. And I think that honestly has a lot to do with just my own mental state. I've been, to say the very least, I've been put through the ringer and back, which is fine. Everyone has their things that they deal
Hmm.
with in life. And but one thing that I've always maintained is keeping a positive outlook on a lot of stuff. So even if like I don't know, had a crazy stupid experience happen to me or like a bad day or something, I always try to pick something positive or like a learning experience out of it. Um, I've been thrown into the deep end, and I always come out stronger. I feel like, and that's just because I like to hold the standard of like being happy. I don't know what I was looking at. I thought it was a bug or something, but
I'll explain later.
uh,
I'll explain later.
um, but yeah, I always hold a standard of wanting, or I guess I don't know. I guess just the morals I was raised on is like happiness is what keeps the world going. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
That's awesome. I like your response. I actually thought it was really cool how quickly you said yes.
Yeah.
I don't think, to my recollection, anyone else said it as fast as you.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. That shows that it's something that you're like dead certain on.
Yeah.
Like you're like, obviously yes.
Yeah.
Like there's
Well,
no.
and if I'm not happy in a moment, I know I will be.
Of course,
And I
yeah.
know like deep down in my heart, I'm like, let's say I'm experiencing something bad. I still wouldn't say, oh, you came up to me and asked me, are you happy? I'd be like, well, no, I'm not. But like, Alyssa, are you really happy? Yes.
Yeah,
Like
because
in
it's
my heart, I am. Like there's,
yeah.
um, I don't know. Yeah. The light of the Lord lives in me. I will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's probably where that comes from. Yep. I don't know why I didn't say that first, but yeah.
It's really cool. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
that is pretty much the end of the podcast for me.
All right. What a bang to end
It,
on.
is there? I will say before we're officially done, where can people find you
Oh
on
goodness.
social media?
Instagram. Pretty much just Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram.
That's all I have. Body by dot list. That's yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's
Awesome.
all I've got going right now.
All right. Well, thanks, Alyssa, for
Yep.
coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Awesome, and we're good to go.